Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are going completely under the hood of the teenage brain. We're going to unpack the exact neuroscience behind why teenage life can feel, well, so overwhelmingly chaotic. And more importantly, how you can use science to take back control. To kick things off, I want to introduce you to a highly relatable case study. Picture a 17-year-old named Rahul. It's 11 p.m., he's sitting at his study desk, his textbooks are wide open, and he is determined to get his work done.
I won't move until this math chapter is done. That's the exact promise Rahul makes to himself. And for the first 10 minutes, things go perfectly. He's genuinely motivated, his brain is totally locked in. But then, the silent killer strikes. A single smartphone notification. Just one tiny little ping. Now think about how wild this is from a neuroscientific perspective. That simple ping triggers an immediate, massive dopamine spike in Rahul's brain. This sudden surge of dopamine directly influences his impulsivity, completely overpowering the logical part of his brain, the part that absolutely knows he should be studying. He rationalizes it, right? He thinks, I'll just check it for a second. And that single impulsive decision ruins absolutely everything.
Notice how this builds into a complete, tragic distraction spiral. Rahul's quick check turns into replying to WhatsApp messages. Then, that dopamine hit craves more, pushing him to open Instagram Reels, and then YouTube Shorts. As he scrolls, the algorithm feeds him these highly curated, perfect lives. He sees a guy his own age buying a house for his parents, another guy who completely transformed his physique in like 6 months. Right at that peak moment of comparison, his mom walks in, sees him on his phone instead of studying, scolds him about the money they're spending on his education, and walks out. Rahul is left completely crushed. The dopamine crash hits him hard, leaving him trapped in this deep, paralyzing overthinking spiral about his own future and his own worth.
So, I want you to actively engage with this explainer right now. Let's do a rapid 5-point self-assessment to see if you are caught in this exact same cycle. Be brutally honest with yourself here, okay? Score a 1 for yes or a 0 for no on these 5 things. First, when you sit down to study, can you hold your focus? Second, do you have emotional control, or do you get easily angered and sad? Third, are you actively building skills outside of just your standard schoolwork? Fourth, do you stick to your daily routine? And fifth, do you have loyal friends who actually motivate you towards success rather than bad habits? Go ahead, tally up your score.
Got it? Now, if your score was 3 or lower, you might be feeling a bit discouraged right now. But look at this number. When researchers asked teenagers these exact same questions, a staggering 80% scored a literal 0. If your score was low, welcome to what we call the teenage trap. In fact, roughly 90% of all teenagers are stuck in this exact same chaotic cycle right now. You are absolutely not alone. And more importantly, you need to know it's not just because you lack willpower.
The crucial point here is understanding the root biological cause of this chaos. Puberty triggers immense hormonal shifts right while your brain is quite literally still under construction. Your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of the brain responsible for logical decision-making and impulse control, it's still developing. Meanwhile, your brain's reward center is already highly sensitive. This means you experience extreme dopamine spikes from things like social media, which leads directly to severe impulsivity, low patience, and heightened emotional triggers. It's completely normal biology, but if we don't manage it, it can really derail our future. So, let's break down the 5 specific traps this biology makes you vulnerable to and exactly how to escape them.
Let's look at the first major pitfall. Trap 1. The FOMO trap.
Because your developing brain is hardwired for social acceptance, missing out feels like an actual biological threat. You might impulsively buy a trendy shirt you don't even need just to fit in, or overthink and trigger your anxiety while your friends are out at a party without you. The exact mindset shift you need to make to escape this is flipping FOMO into JOMO, the joy of missing out. You literally have to consciously reprogram your brain's reward system to find the positive in the situation. The joy is that you are staying home, studying, and guaranteeing you'll crush your next exam while they might struggle. Finding the hidden joy in missing temporary distractions is exactly how you protect your long-term goals.
Moving right along to Trap 2, the education trap.
As a student, your daily schedule can honestly feel like this endless treadmill that leaves absolutely zero room for actual self-improvement. I mean, just look at this timeline. You wake up, you rush to school, come home, maybe rest for a split second, and then you're immediately off to tuition or coaching classes. You drag yourself back in the evening, sit down to do your mountain of homework, and finally fall into bed completely exhausted. This repetitive, draining cycle totally kills your motivation. You are doing a lot of work, sure, but are you actually learning any unique, real-world skills? For most people caught in this loop, the answer is a definitive no.
To break out of this, you don't need a 25-hour day. You just need to follow researcher Josh Kaufman's rule. If you can carve out one small slot, just 45 minutes a day, dedicated solely to a new skill like video editing or graphic design, that adds up to roughly 20 hours a month. Kaufman's research actually shows that 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice is enough to make you highly proficient at a new skill. Within just 1 year, those 45 daily minutes will literally make you an expert, completely freeing you from that endless education treadmill.
All right, let's talk about trap number 3, attraction versus obsession.
Because of those huge hormonal shifts we discussed earlier, finding yourself attracted to someone is biologically completely normal. But the trap snaps shut when that natural attraction morphs into a toxic obsession. The crucial point here is being able to tell the difference. If an attraction makes you want to be a better person and motivates you toward your goals, that's healthy. But if you are just staring at your phone, letting your focus absolutely disintegrate while waiting for a single text message reply, well, your brain's dopamine pathways have been hijacked. It has become an obsession. If a relationship or a crush pulls you away from your purpose, it's a toxic distraction, and you must recognize it and step back.
Next up, we have trap 4, the validation trap.
This trap preys directly on a teenage brain that is constantly seeking social approval. Imagine feeling super confident in a new outfit. You snap a quick photo, and a friend casually replies, "Wow, that shirt looks terrible on you." In an instant, your self-esteem is completely shattered. When we rely on external validation like that, we are literally handing the keys to our happiness over to other people's opinions. The scientific cure to this validation anxiety is self-love and internal comparison. You have to prioritize your own progress. Let's be real. It doesn't matter if your friend scored a 90% on a test while you scored a 60%. The only question is, are you doing better than you were yesterday? That is the only metric that matters. Compare yourself to yourself, not anyone else.
And finally, we reach the 5th, and arguably the most dangerous pitfall, the loneliness trap.
Despite being the most hyperconnected generation in human history, the data shows that 80% of teenagers report feeling deeply, painfully lonely out of a profound fear of judgment. Think about the incredible irony here. You will effortlessly fire off 4 Instagram reels a day to your friend group just to get a quick laugh, but you will never share that you are actually struggling. Keeping those heavy, chaotic emotions bottled up inside your developing brain is not just sad. Neurologically speaking, it is a scientific fast track to severe long-term depression.
You absolutely have to get those thoughts out of your head. The actionable solution here is straightforward. Find just 1 or 2 trusted friends or family members that you can confide in without fear of judgment. But listen, even if you feel like you have absolutely no one to talk to, grab a pen and paper. Brain dumping your raw, messy thoughts into a journal forces your brain to physically process those emotions rather than just letting them loop infinitely in your head.
So we've covered the FOMO trap, the education treadmill, toxic obsession, seeking external validation, and the silence of loneliness. Understanding the neuroscience behind these traps, those dopamine spikes and hormonal shifts, is your ultimate superpower, because breaking out of them is the undeniable key to building a deeply successful and focused future. So I'm going to leave you with this one provocative question. Which of these 5 traps are you going to actively break out of today? Think about it, make a choice, and take your focus back. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.